Hello everyone, welcome back to the ARH Mystery Unveiled YouTube channel. Today we will share a gripping story of a farmer who, after feeding his cattle, went to sleep. In the middle of the night, a loud explosion woke him up. 19 cattle died. But what caused this explosion? How did a massive plane crash in a serene village? Let's uncover the full story in today's video. Our story begins on May 28, 1968, at Jakarta International Airport in Indonesia. At Jakarta Airport, a Caravelle ZXR aircraft was preparing for the takeoff. You should know that this was a very old aircraft, and since we do not have this plane, we will use a similar Boeing 747 for this video. Anyway, let's get back to the story. Garuda Indonesian Airways was operating this flight. It was a very long flight planned to go from Indonesia to Singapore, Thailand, India, Pakistan, then the United Arab Republic, and finally to Italy and the Netherlands. When a flight is this long, refueling is required at various stops, and the pilots and cabin crew need to be exchanged, as they cannot operate the plane for such long periods. The same was planned for this flight. There were 15 passengers and 14 crew members, mainly because it was going to be a long journey. Finally, the plane took off according to plan. After flying over Singapore and Thailand, it prepared to land at Bombay's Santa Cruz Airport at around 1:45 a.m. Today, Bombay is known as Mumbai, and Santa Cruz Airport is now known as Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport. The plane landed without any problems. The 14 crew members who had operated the flight so far were supposed to disembark in India and Pakistan, and then fly to the United Arab Republic, where new pilots and cabin crew would continue the journey. However, the plane was scheduled to refuel at Mumbai's Santa Cruz Airport. The pilot contacted the ground crew to request fuel, and a fuel truck arrived shortly after. Refueling took about half an hour. The pilot recalculated the fuel, and once everything was checked and confirmed, the fuel truck left, and the plane was ready for takeoff. ATC granted permission, and the plane began its takeoff run in the dark. The ATC maintained constant contact with the plane. Suddenly, the pilot's voice stopped. ATC lost contact with the plane. What happened? What didn't? No one could figure it out. Every ticking second hinted at a possible disaster. After 2, 3, and then 4 minutes, ATC received an emergency call. The plane had crashed about 2.5 kilometers away. When rescue teams arrived at the location, they found the plane engulfed in a massive fire. The blaze was eventually brought under control, but there was no hope of saving any passengers. The crash was so severe that everything had been charred. Not only the passengers on the flight, but also 17 villagers from Bilalpura, where the plane crashed, were severely injured. Among them, 3 were critically injured, and 1 died en route to the hospital, while 2 others were saved. In total, 30 people died in this tragic incident. The next morning, an investigation began. When a crash occurs during takeoff, it is usually due to slow-speed stalls, where the plane falls below its minimum required speed and fails to lift off. Investigators initially suspected this, but needed to confirm if the plane was flying at the correct speed. They listened to ATC's call recordings, but didn't hear any alarm sounds, indicating everything was fine before the crash. So what happened? Was there an explosive on the plane? The recording captured a loud noise, but it was the sound of the plane hitting the ground, not an in-air explosion. The plane's structure was intact until the impact. The recording revealed 3 alarms: the master caution alarm, the master warning alarm, and then the ground proximity warning system GPS alarm, indicating that the plane was in serious trouble and descending rapidly. Pilots likely tried to lift the nose of the plane, but couldn't recover it in time. The investigators then turned their attention to the plane's engines. Jet engines in their early years faced significant issues with engine failure. In this case, however, the plane had 4 engines, making simultaneous failure highly unlikely. Moreover, the cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder didn't show any signs of fire or damage in the engines. They then considered a possible fuel pump failure. which could have led to fuel not reaching the engine. But the fuel pump was found to be functioning correctly. It was baffling. How could the plane run out of fuel just 5 minutes after refueling? The ground crew assured that the plane was fully fueled, supported by the captain's calculations and a receipt. The investigation team then inspected the fuel truck and discovered the shocking truth. The truck was carrying aviation gas, AV gas, not the required aviation jet fuel, Jet A. AV gas is used for piston engines, not jet engines. When jet fuel is mixed with AV gas, it doesn't compress properly in the compressor chamber, leading to a lack of power generation in the engine. This was precisely what happened with Garuda Indonesian Airways. Flight 892. The engines initially ran on the residual jet fuel in the system, but as the AV gas reached the engines, it failed to produce enough power, leading to a gradual loss of thrust in all 4 engines, causing them to shut down simultaneously. The pilots had no choice but to crash land the plane, resulting in the tragic accident. This was the story of Garuda Indonesian Airways Flight 892. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. But make sure to subscribe to the channel for more such content. See you in the next video. Until then, keep watching and learning.